It's February 21, 2016, and we want to know, who needs cosmic power and secret identities when there are bed sheets at hand?
Are all of Batman's villains really bad at interpreting metaphors as Poison Ivy literally spreads her seed around Gotham?
It's all coming up now. It's week 38 of DCU here at DCR.
This day, we rescue a world from mysticism and tyranny, and usher in a future brighter than anything we can imagine.
Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's
Distress Citizens Radio.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the DCR. I, of course, remain your host, Sean Lamont, comic book reader extraordinaire, joined, as always, by probably even more extraordinaire than I, my cohort in crime, Mr. Brian Glein. Hello, sir. Basking in the Daystar.
Yes, basking in the accursed Daystar. So when I'm constantly fumbling over myself, you'll know why.
He's blinded by this thing that we get in Ohio for like 3 months out of the year, and for some odd reason, it's come out in February. It never happens. The sun, I think, is what they call it. The soon, is that it?
But hey, DCR podcast. Now, this week, we're going to be super popular because we are now featuring all the nudity and swearing of our original source material.
Oh, man, are we really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that. Why didn't you tell me this?
Yeah. I'm not wearing any pants right now. You can't tell me this.
I thought it was going to be so much easier for us because
back in the old Comics Code approved time of DCR, there was all this nudity and swearing, and now we brought it back. Actually, it's just from the era of DCR podcast that was written by Joe Kelly, but we're going to take all the credit.
No, I thought we were going to get a lucky break because it's DC Rebirth coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Which, shortens down to DCR. So I was like, hey,
yeah, you're right.
We're here.
Branding.
We made it, guys. We made it. We're at the top of the heap now. But let's tell the fine people, give them a little bit of a forewarning on what you and I are going to be doing here today.
We're going to be spoiling all of the comics that came out of the DC universe in the past week.
Yeah, just this week, really.
Yeah, just this week.
We are fully caught up.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. So, if you do not want your book spoiled, we're going to be covering plotline, story beats, character development, etc. So, do not listen to this episode if you do not want those books spoiled. Shorter week this week. Yeah. A little bit smaller. Mm-hmm. I think it's because we're also not covering 3 months worth of books for each one. So it just felt a lot smaller for us as well. But, that does not change the fact that there are titles here that have some plot twists that occur in them. So if you do not want them spoiled, don't listen ahead.
Also, if you want to know an accurate representation of what happened, don't listen ahead either, because we're just going to be making up some silly stuff as we're going along.
Well, I'm not. I at least try to cover the actual storylines. Or if I am, I make a whole joke thing like, ha ha ha, it's like this, or something along those lines. Some of us don't just make up ugly cats and give them names and try to put them everywhere we want them to be. So without any further ado, let us, what are we going to do? Sunbathe into this week's books?
Yes, that's the thing you do. That's the thing that represents forward motion.
Verb. Speaking of the yellow sun.
Oh.
No, not really. You would think I would go to Superman with that, but I'm not.
Yeah.
It's Sinestro number 20. Our lovely friend, the high and mighty paragon of niceness, Sinestro himself, has taken over the police of the universe. He is, the Green Lanterns all got shuffled off to some other universe, and he went, well, a little bit of a power vacuum. I was always the better Green Lantern anyway, and I have my own Sinestro Corps based off of Fear here. We'll take over for them. What could possibly go wrong? What went wrong is they kind of, poked the bear when it comes to this group called the, Pale Bishops, who are a group of...
They don't get any sunlight.
They get none. They have done zero sunbathing. But they are an anti-emotion group. Basically, they have gone, emotions are a weakness. Emotions are bad. We should just smote them all and just drain everyone of their emotion and make them automatons of will, of what we want them to do. Just, everyone's a puppet, and that'll make the universe a better place. So they've attacked Earth because, of course, Sinestro led them here by accident. Whoopsie. And Sinestro has basically deployed every ace up his sleeve to try to protect Earth and stop this Pale Bishop group from killing everyone. And he's done stuff like conscripted all of the Earth heroes and villains and given them Sinestro rings. So it's like Superman, Wonder Woman, Scarecrow, Harley Quinn. There's all these people that are now Sinestro Corps members with their yellow rings, and they have their snazzy little Sinestro Corps costumes on now that are obviously based off of their original costume, but slightly altered color scheme at the very least. And they're fighting off these people. He's released his Sinestro Hunters, the Manhunters that he recommissioned with his face on them instead of
tiny mustaches.
Yeah,
Just drew some tiny mustaches on him. Come on.
Well, fair enough. He just put little pencil-thin mustaches on all of them. But regardless, he's released them, and they're
John Waters Hunters. It's like, no.
Sinestro Hunter. And meanwhile, Sinestro himself and alongside his daughter, Sornik Natu, are facing off against the leader of this Pale Bishop himself, who is a disgraced guardian who went, hey, emotions bad, let's make no emotions, that'll work out so much easier. And they're fighting against one another. And as this whole fight is going on, Sinestro is contemplating fear on this whole thing of misinformation where everyone thinks that he has conquered fear, that he doesn't feel fear. And that's not the case. He absolutely is afraid. He's afraid of losing everything he's built. He's afraid maybe he isn't as good as he thinks he is. Maybe he's afraid that maybe Hal Jordan is his equal. Maybe he isn't a bumbling idiot, but things are really, really hard to protect an entire universe. I mean, he has plenty of fear inside him at this moment. And as he's fighting the Pale Bishop, who tries to drain him of his emotion, he goes, well, if I'm afraid and I'm the master of fear, maybe this guy's afraid too, and starts digging through his memories while they have their little mind link while he's trying to drain him of his energy. And goes all the way back to the past when the Guardians of the universe were actually sitting there going, you know what we should do? We should build armies based off of emotion. That sounds like a great way to protect things.
I choose willpower. Like,
which one do I got compassion? Knock. But anyway, while they're all having this debate on we should have willpower armies out there defending the universe, this one Guardian's like, that sounds very irrational. Shouldn't we want something that's very, like, you know, even-keeled and not prone to, I don't know, cling to their one emotion and use it as a crutch to force philosophies down people's throats? Maybe we should have an even-keeled police force. And they all go, no, you're crazy, man. And because of that, he fears what they're about to do, and he goes and creates the Pale Bishops and this anti-emotion group. And Sinestro kind of plays off of that and brings it up to the surface and shows that the Pale Bishop has fear as well. And then they break off their little attack with one another. And as the Pale Bishop's like, you're totally gonna fall here. And Sinestro's like, oh, did you just stutter, bitch? And then there's this great panel of Sornik Natu just standing off to the side like, damn, Dad. That's verbatim what it says. She's just like, damn. But they end up just overburdening this Pale Bishop, overloading his power, and take him out, and all of his armies kind of fall dormant at the same time as soon as he falls. And everyone's like, yay, we've won. And back on Earth, it's people like Superman and Wonder Woman and Black Adam, and they're like, wait a minute, did Sinestro just save the planet Earth again? Isn't this like the second or third time he saved? I thought he was a bad guy. I thought he was an asshole myself. And Black Adam gets his one line in of being super awesome. He's like, you know, for being the paragons of morality that you guys proclaim yourselves to be, you're all kind of judgmental pricks. I believe it's something along the lines of, you don't believe in the power of redemption, and they all kind of kick the dirt and look down like, but we're still good guys. It is Sinestro. I mean, his name is Sinestro.
Come on.
We've gone over this so many times now. How can we trust a man by the name of Sinestro? He obviously has sinister plans in his mind. It's pre-built into him at that point. It does end with, things like Arkillo getting a hug from a little girl for saving them and their family, and Arkillo looking all awkwardly around.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah. It's like, kind of a scary monster thing, but I guess. But
Pat,
because
Pat.
while the war was happening, everyone was flying off to attack the ships that were above in orbit, and they're like, come on, Arkilla, we're gonna smote stuff. He's like, no, someone must stay behind and protect these weak-willed meat sacks on this planet. And now they're all like, yay, Arkilla, and he's like, you guys were here when I called you all meat sacks, right? But as they all try to sort out what happened to their leader, oh my god, what happened to Sinestro? I can't sense his power anywhere. Did he die saving this? Oh my goodness, what's happening? We find out that Sinestro actually burned out all of his power doing this. He is just a normal dude now, and he has passed the mantle to his daughter, Sornik Natu, to be the new leader of the Sinestro Corps. Sornik Corps? I don't know what they're gonna do with that, but she is kind of sheepishly accepting the role because, I mean, second in line is Arkillo, who, yeah, he's getting squeezes from little girls and whatnot, but he's still probably not the best tactician leader. He is not a delicate scalpel. He is a sledgehammer.
Yes.
So she has taken the mantle, rocking the new look and coming down and telling everyone, hey, guys, I'm in charge now, so let's do this. As a wounded Sinestro just kind of stands in the back like, yeah, my daughter's gonna do awesome. I'm sure it's gonna be rough. I'm sure it's gonna be hard. This entire little arc here, this Pale Bishop arc, really good. Really good. It reminded me of the Sinestro Corps Wars type stuff, except Sinestro is much more gray in
World War
this.
II?
What's that?
World War II?
Yeah, Corps. But he's a lot more gray. He's a lot more morally complex. He is trying to do right. He has his philosophy. Yeah, he's a totalitarian megalomaniac, but he is still
But
trying
he's
to...
our totalitarian
Exactly.
megalomaniac.
I mean, I've grown to really like Sinestro, and especially since my introduction to the Green Lantern mythos was Green Lantern #1 with the New 52, which was basically the Sinestro book for the first 8 issues because Hal Jordan was quote unquote dead or off to the side somewhere. So it was to me, Green Lantern is Sinestro starting off. Well, I mean, not literally, but.
Is he not dying in the death zone?
Not dying in the death zone, but, it's nice to see. I have a soft spot for Sinestro now, and this book is really hit on all cylinders for that for me. So I just want to toss that out there.
Good.
Next up.
Speaking of characters that we've grown to love, Martian Manhunter number 9.
My boy.
All right, so starting off with the Living Mars storyline, we go back to Earth, and on Earth, John Constantine has just gotten done shagging a demon babe.
Yeah, another
as he does.
He opens up his little book and makes a little tally mark, and
Yep.
another layer of hell conquered.
Yep. So when he notices that something's gone all Ziggy Stardust in the sky, and he notices that there is a giant Mars right next to Earth. But because from Earth, this is a perspective we can't get out in space, he goes and looks through a telescope. He's like, there's a regular non-living Mars where Mars is supposed to be. So this is like an extra Mars on top of everything. This is some weird, creepy alien magic. That is way past my pay grade. I mean, I'm constantly working over my pay grade. Now I gotta deal with alien stuff too. And so he immediately throws on a trench coat and goes running off to go find someone to help. And off on Mars, Mr. Biscuits gets a strange vision of a naked Englishman in a trench coat running through the streets of London. It's like, how could that possibly be related to this? This has nothing to do with
That's a weird segue.
Yes, has nothing to do with cookies at all.
I do love the fact that Constantine goes, I better go get the action figures involved. That's their realm.
Yeah. So meanwhile, on the living Mars, 2 giant robot mech warriors are having a Power Rangers battle to determine the fate of the planet.
Mwah.
Yes. One is Ma'alefak's roving war city in robot mode, and one is piloted by Alicia, the now grown-up, adorable Moppet friend of Mr. Biscuits.
Which hers seems to be formed Transformers style from a bunch of vehicles they were driving across that I'll form the head and
Devastator.
yeah, Devastator mode.
Yeah. So, a bunch of Martian rebels are trying to tear apart Martian Manhunter. So he decides to shapeshift and grow and inhabit the war city, becoming its brain and then replacing all of the important parts with himself, and becomes a giant Gundam version of Martian Manhunter.
Yes!
He's got to send the living Mars back to the past through a portal because they pulled this Mars out from the past.
Yep.
That's why there's still people living on it. So he's going to send him through a portal. And Superman's nowhere to be found, so he's got to find someone else to help create this portal.
Well, that is his MO.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Alicia is old and mad at him, but he's able to convince her to believe in him again and to help. So they've got to go find a Martian baby to open a portal for them, but Malefac can't find him first, or he'll use the Martian baby to make more evil things happen.
Yes. Who is Martian Baby? Do you have any idea?
I don't know. I thought maybe he'd shown up in the issues that I just sort of, knew about from listening to you.
Okay, gotcha.
So.
Yeah, they still haven't specified who it is. There's a bunch of rumors or myths, or whether it's a god of Mars, or if it's actually Martian Manhunter's kid, or as they even discuss in this one, that Martian Manhunter was made by smushing a bunch of Martians together, that this may have been one of the ones that was left behind, or something like that.
Perhaps. So, Pearl and Wessel also say that, hey, you need to think about Earth as well, because we're the parts of you that love Earth, so we're not going to let you just, do anything that'll abandon that. Yeah. So he says, okay, so, while we get all these Martian refugees that are going to die, load them up into these war bots, and we'll fly off to Earth before we send this Mars back to the portal. It's like, well, that seems like a crazy idea. And meanwhile, Mr. Biscuits gives it a good 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yep.
He's like, I like that plan. That's very good. That makes perfect sense to me, the crazy stick bug alien who is obsessed with cookies.
This is the guy that you really need the stamp of approval from before you do anything logical.
So he's just biscuiting around, narrowly being eaten by Mars, when he stumbles upon a creepy Martian baby who's going to explain how he was created.
Yep. So we're going to get the actual what the hell has been happening for the last 9 issues. Next issue.
But so much has been happening that, like, if they never even explained it, I'd be perfectly fine. Just Wolverine, Martian Manhunter.
I don't think we have made it a difficult thing to figure out that you and I both love when people go all out and just go insane with their crap and take it to the limit. It's a comic book. The medium is you have no budget for how insane you want to be. So go be insane. And this book has really walked that line of insanity, but followable, I guess.
Yeah.
I know what's happening. There's mysteries obviously still out there that are intended to be mysteries still at this point. But
it's like, oh, Malefac, you are a creepy pink evil Martian. We get it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all you really need to know.
And then Martian Manhunter. These are our different facets of him, and somehow they've been split up into, oh, this is my heart.
5 equally interesting characters.
Yeah, well, it's like Pearl is his heart. Wessel ended up being the hunter, part of his mindset, and then Mr. Biscuits is his subconscious, and then we also have like the old guy in the cape and stuff like that we still have to figure out some of the other portions of it, but they're assigning these emotional parts, facets of who Martian Manhunter is. I've said it in the past. Ingenious way to introduce a character as far as an arc is, here are all the parts that make him who he is, and we're gonna give them all their own personalities and their own aspects, and then when we mush them all together some point, maybe you'll like him more, and you'll see these aspects of him shine out as he does things, or hopefully they don't go the Deadpool route where it's a voices in his head where it's just different colored boxes for each of them, but you never know.
You never
know. Do you think they're going to survive?
I have no idea. I wouldn't mind if they all survived as separate characters.
I wouldn't
they're pretty
either.
Great.
I wouldn't either. Maybe
Each
they'll
one individually is
depower
pretty great.
Martian Manhunter some.
You know who I didn't really care for?
Who's that?
Mold. You know where he is now? He's underneath a tank tread. Everyone else can stand on their own as a character.
So you didn't like old guy in the blanket cape?
I thought he was a silly looking visual, and I didn't think he worked as well as. Mind you, I also love a stick bug alien that's always talking about cookies. I'm like, that's perfect. Old guy in a cape. I can't. Old guy in a
I cannot suspend my disbelief.
That's a step too far. A step too far.
Touche.
Crazy besuited alien, mantis alien with a shape-shifting cane. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
I'm down with that. I can follow that. No, really good though. I think we've definitely voiced that we were surprised by this one, and it's, I'm hoping Rob Williams, I know this one does not survive Rebirth.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping he gets to play elsewhere because wow, he has really, come out. Who does the art for this one?
There's a bunch of people on this one, but I know Eddie Barrows has been doing the lion's share of the work over the past few issues.
Yeah, he's been doing a really good job too as far as keeping it understandable with all of shapeshifting. It's always weird to draw shapeshifting because it's literally an action in process, and that's difficult to do, I think. But
I always like Howard Porter when he was doing Justice League. He always was like, I love drawing Plastic Man because you could never draw him wrong. It's like, oh, he's just in the middle of shapeshifting. My proportions off on that one. It's just Plastic Man.
I could draw all of this really intricate thing behind it, but I'm just gonna have Plastic Man kind of blobby over that little part, the foreground.
He likes to stretch out.
So next up, I got Wonder Woman number 49. We got some mixed reviews on this one, Brian. I've gotten a couple emails about this particular issue. Mixed bag, I'm going to say. Baby Zeke is in peril. Baby Zeke is having seizures. Baby Zeke can't sleep. Baby Zeke is not healthy whatsoever. As we know, Baby Zeke is the vessel, the human vessel for Zeus, who has been reborn into this baby's body, and, has been a very central character to Wonder Woman's actions up to this point, including now, because Hera is trying to figure out what is wrong with baby Zeke, and the only thing she can figure is, yeah, Mount Olympus is kind of screwed up of late. We've really, even as Greek gods, we really kind of jacked this whole continuity thing up. People being made from clay, not made from clay, God's dying, God's coming back, God's going crazy. You're a god of war, but you don't like war, and the god of peace is now causing war because you're not causing. It's just an entire Charlie Foxtrot up here, and we need to probably figure that out. So can you do me a favor here, Wonder Woman? Can you run down, go talk to Gaia on Earth there? I used to talk to her all the time when I was a kid. She's the mother of all the gods. Why don't you go talk to her and see if she can help us out and get everything in order and get baby Zeke healed so that we can move on and everyone will be happy. And Wonder Woman goes, okay, sure, I could do that. So she kind of trudges on down to a cave on Earth and finds, okay, here's this temple of Gaia. Let me yell at this statue for a bit. Old man yells at chair style, just, hey, you listen to me. You do this. Why aren't you listening? And, of course, no answer because it's just a statue sitting there. And, finally, someone steps out from the shadows, and that is the creepy lizard lady known as Hecate, who has, shown up before in was the sidekick / mentor of McPenishator, and has obviously been working against the Amazons, but she shows up looking evil as sin and goes, hey, I'm the goddess of witchcraft and sorcery. Maybe I can give you a hand since Gaia's not here. And Wonder Woman goes, well, I guess it's worth a shot. What can you do to help out baby Zeke? And Hecate goes, oh yeah, I can help out with that. I have to cast a spell, but to do that, you have to steal these magic orbs from the bottom of Hera's scrying pool. And Wonder Woman goes, oh, okay, well, I can ask her. I'm sure Hera would be totally keen with helping out baby Zeke. She's very vested in his survival as well, especially being the host of Zeus. And Hecate goes, no. You have to steal it. If you tell her, she's going to get all defensive and not want to give this stuff up because she's a god, and that's what they do. They get very protective of their domains. And besides, even if Zeke dies, Zeus will just be reborn in another body, so she's not even going to care about it. So you go steal those orbs and we'll move on from there. And Wonder Woman goes, well, I guess if that's the only option I have available in front of me, I will go steal these things from Hera, my bestie friend right now, who I've finally made up with, and we're all good, and I'm sure would probably help me out in this endeavor. But instead, I will go rob her and try this angle. So she goes and sneaks into Olympus and swims down to the bottom of the pool and steals these 3 orbs that are at the bottom of it. And as she comes up, she's doing all Solid Snake style stealth mission through Mount Olympus and hiding behind walls and underneath cardboard boxes and stuff because people are just roaming the halls of Mount Olympus left and right here. It's like 2:00 in the morning, and even she's like, God damn, is this all these people do is just roam the halls of Mount Olympus? Go to bed, people, go to bed. But it's stuff like, the really dysfunctional relationship of the now reborn war, Ares and the peace goddess. She's all like, oh, you're back. Oh, we're going to go make sexy time. And he's just totally disinterested in her. Just like, okay, you're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Just stay at arm's length. Just the whole way they're walking, he's just holding her at arm's length. And she just isn't taking the hint whatsoever. And,
geez, Peg.
Yeah. And one of them just
put my hand down
head
my
around
pants,
the corner.
right?
And then she ducks around another corner where, Apollo and Moon are walking down the hallway where Apollo is kind of, talking to her about how, you don't understand, Moon. Being dead changed me. I'm a different man now. I understand. I need to settle down. I need to start a family. And there's only one woman good enough for me. I just need to figure out a way to convince her that she's the one for me and that we'd make a good family together. And they kind of walk off with Wonder Woman going, gee, I pity whatever woman that would be wonder enough for him to be. Obviously setting up a future arc there, but it was just a very funny reaction of clearly he's talking about you, Wonder Woman, clearly here. Why don't you just ixnay on the ignorance there. But she ends up finding a secret passage down to Hephaestus's forge and goes sneaking through that. And as she does, she accidentally trips off a defense system that unleashes a Cyclops while she's looking around a corner. It's like sneaking up behind her. And then it Hal Jordans her on the head and she falls unconscious. And it ends with them dragging away Wonder Woman off to its cave. Dun dun dun. What will happen next? There's also another little subplot where Hera keeps getting mind glimmered, it looks like. Like her eyes all of a sudden glow green. And it seems to be trying to push her towards making a play for the throne itself. Maybe Olympus doesn't need a king. Maybe it needs a queen style stuff. So it's obvious they're going to be pushing Hera towards a more villainous role again. Or at least Hecate's setting up the whole thing and making it seem like Hera can't be trusted. But there's a lot of people very angered that we've spent, 48 issues building up this whole Wonder Woman is now part of the Greek pantheon and has made friends with these people. And it's the people that we really, really like. And is so quick to just betray them just off of some creepy witch lady that looks evil as Sid going, no, I'm totally on the up and up. I can help you. So, I mean, they're, as I said, mixed bag. I was reading on Reddit where half the people are like, hey, Wonder Woman's taking action and doing things by herself without being, but obviously two different ways of looking at it. And I guess they'll see where it goes from there. We have Rebirth coming up, so I don't think it's going to have any long lasting effects right now as far as the relationship between them. Or even if it does, it can be reset in 3 months anyway.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
I mean, it's hard to be that upset about it. Plus, I mean, hey, they are kind of classic villains, I guess, of Wonder Woman. Wouldn't you say Hera and, or was Hera ever like a real villain of hers?
I know Ares would show up on occasion.
Yeah, I know Ares was.
I really can't think of many Wonder
Obviously,
Woman villains.
Hades would be in there too,
yeah.
and I mean, they've had a villainous role for Wonder Woman in the past, so, we'll see. I'm always willing to see where a story goes before I make a judgment on it. So, I'll leave it at that.
All right, moving on to Robin, Son of Batman, number 9.
Oh, the feels.
The feels. So Damian comes back to Gotham and spies on his now amnesiac dad, hanging out with art teachers and helping kids that aren't him. It's sad.
Yeah.
Sad. But he will protect Gotham regardless because he's got that wonderful, heroic streak in him, I suppose. Like
yeah,
it's
like
his dad instilled this sense of duty into him.
It's almost like a belligerent streak in him as well, where he's just like, well, I don't give a crap if no one else is here to help me. I'm going to do it myself.
Mm-hmm. So he runs into the Bat Freaks, Scallop, Bathead, and Smush, handily defeats them, as you do with the Bat Freaks. And then he sees a bunch of nobody tech guys using nobody's sub. They are Snow Fox and Wunder Fox. And they're a couple of idiots that nobody, like the Maya nobody, hired to destroy his stuff because he's dead, and she didn't want any other, bad things to happen because of her dad's stuff just laying around.
Fair enough.
So, they mess him up with terribly named sonic weapons, but Goliath comes to save him.
Yay, Goliath!
He followed him home, as all good dogs do. So they check on Maya via creepy spy cameras, and she's happy, so they're happy. It's like, well, she's off in some fancy cabana somewhere getting lemonade, so I guess she's all right. So he has Goliath take an oath to join him in protecting Gotham. He makes him put his hand on like the bat signal.
Yes.
Raises his other hand. It was adorable. And then he introduces him to the rest of his team. Titus the dog, Pennyworth the cat, and Bat Cow the cow.
Yes!
It is amazing. I want that last page. It is the best thing ever.
You know what has really sold this for me? And it's me projecting. I'm completely aware I'm projecting on this. Mm-hmm. Gleason really loves Damian.
Oh yeah.
He spent so many years drawing him now that I think he feels so connected to this character that it's you feel the love for this character coming through with all of the books he's writing about him, and it's just
there's
so
like
great.
There's like 3 or 4 pages in this that are suitable for framing.
Yeah,
like there's or like that one where it's like an upside down shot of him swinging through Gotham,
or riding Goliath over
like,
the
Goliath just acting as like a gargoyle on top of some spooky building, and they're just stoically looking out across Gotham. It looks so good.
It looks so.
And
great,
that last page where he's introducing Goliath to his pets is supposed to be this big triumphant moment, and Pennyworth the cat is licking himself. You know,
it's just there's so much love put into these images as well as the story itself. For the character that I know this is his last one for this one, and it's just like oh. But I just you could feel it coming off the page, and that's really what sold it for me. It was part of what made Tomasi and his Batman and Robin stuff really come off the page as well. That yeah, it's Batman and Robin, but it was about Damian. I mean, that entire run of those 40 issues or so was about Damian.
Yeah.
And it always has been about Damian, and it's just
even when he was dead, it was about Damian.
It was about Damian. It just feels really, really nice to see a creative team that loves a character that much, pour that much of themselves into it, and it really shines through. So I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that because this might be the last time Gleason gets to play around with Damian for a bit, and it will be sorely, sorely missed. Mm-hmm. And this particular issue had those images that really make you go, man, this is like my once a month guaranteed I'm at least going to smile once, like a big ear to ear grin of, yeah, I really like this little shit. So sad, but happy I got to have it at the same time. Happy I had it at the same time. I might have to actually look up and see if I can buy some of these images, because they're really, really good. Really good. So next up, Batman and Robin Eternal number 20. Sans Damian, of course. It's all the Robins hanging out together, having fun, palling around. In this case, having a little bit of an internal struggle because they have gone to St. Hadrian's School, where it has been mind-controlled by Mother, using a subsonic signal to make all teenagers try to kill adults. And of course, at a school for assassins, a finishing school for girls, that's not a good place for that to be going off, and it is. So everyone's fighting as Grayson, Red Hood, and Cassandra Cain try to contain this mob of assassin girls from running rampant throughout England. And Harper Road, now under the fear toxin and fully aware that Cassandra Cain killed her mother, is in rage mode. Full-on rage mode, trying to murder Cassandra Cain. We see it from her perspective, where it's like the fear toxin has taken hold, and Cassandra Cain's like laughing with blood on her hands and stuff. So it gives a little bit more context. I know last issue we were like, well, that's kind of a weird reaction to all of a sudden be like in the middle of a deadly fray of assassins, and you just turn on one of your few allies. Well, from her perspective, it looks like Cassandra's mocking her and threatening to kill her as well, coming to kill her and finish the job. So understandable a little bit more. They end up fighting. Red Hood makes the horrible life decision of trying to jump in between the two girls and stop them from fighting one another, and ends up just getting punched in the face and kicked to the side the whole time. And it's like a page of him going, I'm not going to pull out my serrated knives. I'm not going to stab anyone. I'm going to use my head. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to rationalize my way through this and not murder anyone. And he just keeps getting hit for his efforts, and it's not working out until finally, Cassandra takes Harper's electro gun and shoots it down in the water they're standing on, knocking all three of them unconscious. Weep wah. But it was the only way to stop anyone from getting murdered in this whole thing. Meanwhile, as this is happening, Grayson has noticed that Poppy Ashmore, the cannibal super speed force iron stomach lady that worked with Spiral that ended up betraying them for Mother, she's hiding in one of the nearby tech rooms. He sees her like scurry in there and follows her in, and she sees that she's messing around with something else, some of the tech that's in there, and goes, well, that's weird. It seems like you have goals of your own that are outside this whole turning all the teenagers into crazy psychopaths. So he ends up trying to fight her, and at the same time, Orphan is fighting Helena down underneath, where her and Dr. Netz and Tim Drake, who's also drug-addled with fear toxin, are trying to turn off the signal that it's being hijacked on their system. So Helena ends up fighting the orphan while those two go on ahead to turn off the signal. And he's able to work his way through the illogical system. Poor Tim Drake, stoned off his gourd. Dr. Netz is also insane, so she is of no real assistance whatsoever. She just tells him crazy things all the time, where it's like, don't worry, Tim Drake, you'll make your parents proud, even if they are Nazi sympathizers. He's like, my parents aren't Nazi sympathizers. Oh, mine are. It's just weird. And he ends up turning off the signal, releasing everyone. But as that occurs, both Orphan and what's her name, Poppy Ashmore, do some sort of mind whammy on Helena and Dick Grayson, where they have these little eye symbols on their hand and they hold it up to each other's hypnos. And both Grayson and Helena fall unconscious, but not before information that was in both of their hypnos gets merged together, and it activates this Somnus satellite, which was the giant mind-wiping satellite that Spiral had in orbit, just in case, where even Grayson had mentioned, having a giant mind-wipe satellite in orbit, just in case, is going to bite us in the ass one day. Today appears to be that day, because they have activated it, and it looks like Mother and her team have the codes now to use it. And they end up grabbing Cassandra Cain and Harper Row, who are unconscious. Grayson and Helena both get knocked out from the mind whammy, and they grab those two and run them back to Mother. And it's the next day where everyone's like coming to, and they're trying to put the rubble back together in the city, and everyone's just like, man, this is a mess. This is crap. And Helena tries to explain, because Grayson shows up and goes, mind control satellite, totally called that one. Told you that was going to be a pain in the butt. And Helena goes, you don't understand. We rewrote all the code on it. It was actually supposed to be a present for you. That's why half of the activation codes were in my hypnos and half in yours. It's been specifically coded to make everyone forget the secret identity of Nightwing, so that you could go back to be Nightwing at some point. And it was going to be my gift to you after we were done fixing all of Spiral's craziness that they have done in the past. And he's all like, well, that's actually really nice of you, but now some crazy lady has access to it, and I'm sure they can rewrite that code. And they're both standing there going, well, this is just a fine mess we have gotten into. And in the distance we hear,
break the satellite, break the satellite. I know what's happening in Rebirth. Break the satellite.
Well, we hear in the distance as they're having this conversation, flap, 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 whoosh. As everyone goes, what the hell is that? And we hear a voice from off panel go, yeah, you guys have totally made a mess of everything. I go on one international redemption quest, and I come back to you clowns messing everything up. But don't worry, the real Robin is here now to fix all of this. And it's Damian climbing off of Goliath, just with that smug-ass look on his face, like, you idiots. Oh, man. I have to babysit you
I'm
kids
like the
everywhere.
Maid. I just cleaned this place up for 5 seconds.
It's such a triumphant return for Damian to show up to at this moment. It's very much the Lord of the Rings, like, now it's our darkest hour, and here comes Damian on the giant eagle, just like, caw, caw.
Why weren't those eagles here for the entire movie? It would have taken one movie. Would have been a short.
So happy to see him back. It's the one piece of the stew that I've been missing, because, as I said, the main thing I love about this book, the plot line's there. I mean, it's a good vehicle for all of these people to hang out together. The mystery was good to start off with. The dynamic between everyone interacting with one another has been the selling point for me, and this has been this has been the meat of that stew that I've been waiting to come back in and have it mix up and have them all talk and interact with one another.
Maybe you got a stew going.
You got a stew going. No, ever since the Batman and Robin issues, I want to say it was like 8, 9, 10, 11, somewhere around that frame, where it was when the Bat Freaks first got introduced, and it was all of the Robins working together while Damian was trying to outbest each one of them to prove that he was the best Robin. So he was like ambushing Jason Todd or tried to out-hack Tim Drake. And so it was him trying to prove he was the best Robin, but then they end up all becoming like really close brothers working together. I've wanted to get back to that for so long now. And I feel like we're going to get that now in this book. And I'm like, yay! So it's cute. It's fun.
Very good.
Yes, definitely so. So we're going to take a quick break. Brian, what do you have coming up for the second half of this?
Got Titans Hunt, Poison Ivy, and Secret Six.
What are the Titans doing in Titans Hunt?
Hunting.
Are they hunting? Mm-hmm. I'm surprised at this. I have Harley Quinn number 25, a weird turn for the serious in Harley Quinn this week. And then I will wrap up my books with Dr. Fate number 9. And we'll be back in a couple seconds to go through those books. We have returned. I went outside. It's nice out.
It's very nice.
So nice.
Rush through this week. Go back outside.
All right, do your thing.
All right. Titans Hunt number 5.
He's hunting Titans.
Very quiet. Very, very quiet. We're hunting Titans. So Hornblower is in the clutches of Mr. Twister, an old man who takes baths.
I forgot about this storyline. All right, okay, I'm back in now 100%.
Yeah, so he remembers the time in the past, the deadly events that changed the lives of the Titans forever, when Mr. Twister forced him to do something terrible, so unbelievably terrible.
Was it Redfoot Yellow?
So Donna Troy, Garth, and Nightwing are exploring the Pleasantville-esque Hatton Corners, who the Titans saved from something unbelievably terrible one time. But no one remembers it, even though these three seem very familiar. It's almost like there's some mass amnesia going around here.
You know, there's a machine that can fix that.
So Dove goes to see Lilith to get Hawk some anger management because he's a rageaholic. He's addicted to rageahol, Sean.
Well, I didn't know that was a product that people actually consumed.
But little did they know, they were being hunted.
Oh, by who?
By Arsenal and Cave Boy.
Well,
actually,
that doesn't sound very threatening, to be honest.
Which actually, they just wanted to see Lilith, but as Gnark knows, a hunter must always be ready for the hunt, even when he is not hunting.
Sarah McLachlan rarely goes on tour, so you usually have to catch her at Lilith Fair. I mean, it's just how it is.
Yes, but everyone starts fighting, and Gnark, when he hits someone with his spear, it actually makes a wunt sound effect. It makes me wonder.
Okay, you guys are starting to be a little too self-aware here.
when Hawk hawks out and he starts fighting, and so then Dove's out, Lilith faints because she's probably having flashbacks to the time that horrible, unbelievably terrible thing happened.
Okay. Yeah. Are we getting answers as to what that horrible, terrible thing was?
All right. So Bumblebee is worried about Hornblower.
It's not.
When a mysterious hipster shows up named Neil Richards. Some people might recognize that as the secret identity of the Mad Mod.
Okay.
So, but in modern times, he's just a mega hipster with the sides of his hair shaved really close and like a level 10 Raleigh Fingers attention mustache, which is kind of perfect.
Yes.
If you're going to do a modern Mad Mod, that's pretty great.
Does he have artisan chocolates on him? And
He does not. He's got some real attention-grabbing frames, though.
Oh, so, there you go.
But he lets Bumblebee know that Mr. Twister is back, and he wants all the Titans, even you, even your unborn baby, because he's going to do something terrible, something just so unbelievably terrible.
What is this terrible thing? Why are terrible things happening?
While the rest of the team goes into the woods, they come across a frightening bearded figure. No, it's not James Corden, it's the Mammoth.
Okay.
So
the big guy from Teen Titans Go, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So while they do that, Mr. Twister summons his weird spiraling tower out of nowhere in the middle of the woods and hypnotizes Hornblower and forces him to the top, where Twister has, I'm not kidding, this huge mystical organ which he forces Hornblower to play with. He says, Hornblower, do you remember that terrible, unbelievable, that horrible, awful, unbelievable, terrible thing that I made you sing? Sing it again. Sing the terrible, horrible song that will end the world.
Play with my organ, Hornblower. Play with my organ.
So he puts his mouth to the organ's microphone, and he does sing that horrible, unbelievably terrible song. You're hot and you're cold. You're yes and you're no. You're in and you're out. You're up and you're down. No! Make it stop, Hornblower! You're black and you're white. You're wrong and you're... No! Mr. Twister also would have accepted any song that lists the days of the week that isn't written by The Cure.
What about Friday? I mean, Friday was pretty good.
Friday was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was in love. That's what I'm saying.
No, I was going to say Friday.
Oh, no.
Gotta get
Like
down on Friday.
If it's a song that lists the days of the week and isn't written by The Cure, it's the worst song ever, Sean. This is actually kind of fun. This is actually, I'm giving it unbelievable, because as someone who knows nothing about Titans continuity, I can stand above it and make dumb jokes.
Well, that seems like a very complex thing, Titans continuity.
Oh.
I mean, this is anything that has Donna Troy in it whatsoever.
Yeah, you're just
continuity
guaranteed.
Automatically, you might as well just go, things happened, people did stuff, we're here now.
Yeah.
I did notice that they're saying that she ran around with them, though.
Yeah.
Donna Troy was part of this team, even though she was just created 3 months ago
Very
in Wonder
confusing.
Woman. That's. I know it's Donna Troy. I know I just said as soon as she gets involved, you just go, things happen, people did stuff. But that one's kind of weird, I have to say.
Yeah.
It's one thing when you introduce a character and you say, "Oh yes, she's been in the background doing stuff, and now we're putting her on the center stage here." It's another thing when you literally create the person, like literally go, "We'll put some arms here and some legs there and throw a jacket on it, and voila, we have Donna Troy." Create a person and then say she was doing stuff before that.
Yeah.
Convergence?
Sure.
Convergence. Convergence did it. That's our fallback at the moment. I know continuity is light right now. I know it's very loosey-goosey. They're just kind of telling stories. That was the whole point of the DCU, so I can't really fault it for them doing what they said they were going to do. I have a feeling this one is probably going to be more continuity impacting than maybe Wonder Woman's introduction of Donna Troy. I'm sure they'll take elements of it, maybe make Donna Troy the goddess of fate, or the fate, whatever it is, over in the new stuff that's coming up in Rebirth. But as far as her introduction, I'm sure it will be redone again using whatever Titans Hunt does. We'll see. I don't know. I'm, again, speaking out of my rear, so.
Also, I had to make the Katy Perry joke, but I also think I need to point out that, the song that Hornblower sings, or Harold sings, I also call him Hornblower just for my own laughs.
Yes.
But it's a bunch of musical notes, and it's just him going, like he's flipping Klimpaloon or something. I don't know.
Is he singing Bob Dylan? I hate the government. They took away my TV. Wee!
Titans continuity.
Sure, why not? I mean, Mad Mod's there. We can go Dylan.
Yeah.
Why not? So we got some chuckles. We got some laughs out of Titans Hunt. Obviously, you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
It at least has something, that mystery thing, dude.
They are literally solving mysteries, rewriting history. It's a complete and total duck blur. I'm enjoying it.
But let's get serious for a second. And I know this is going to be weird. This is going to be a little odd because I have Harley Quinn up next. And this isn't, this is like a special after school special of Harley Quinn. This isn't your usual fun laughs. This is like the really serious episode of
full Webster
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I mean, this is the one where his dad came to visit, his biological dad came to visit, and it got really dark and really serious all of a sudden. You're like, man, what happened to him just throwing DJ Jazzy Jeff out the front door? That was funny. But Harley Quinn has decided to bust out her boyfriend Mason from Arkham Asylum because he legitimately killed the mayor of New York City's son. It was manslaughter, though. There was a bar fight. There was like the whole $1 million baby. The mayor's son fell over and broke his neck on a stool. Spoiler warning. Sorry if you haven't seen that one.
Don't worry, you didn't miss anything.
It wasn't a bad movie. Don't be like that. But it was an accident. He got sent to jail. The mayor has been very corrupt and very obvious in his methods to try to kill Mason. And now in this effort, he has shipped him off to Arkham Asylum, where he's still, I mean, he's a pretty big dude, but he's still just a regular dude mixed in with not good people that can smote him with just looking at him pretty much. And so Harley goes, okay, I'm going to bust in and break him out. So she uses her usual ploy of sneaking into places by dressing up as Dr. Harleen Quinzel and applying for a job at Arkham Asylum. doesn't use Harleen Quinzel for the name, changes the name, but still applies. And she comes in, shows up for the interview. They go, okay, you got the job. And then we pan to outside the room where everyone outside is like, that's obviously Harley Quinn. Does no one actually run background checks? Did she think this would work? Why would this happen? Why would anyone hire Harley Quinn thinking that this was a normal doctor? I'm pretty sure someone would have checked that. A little self-aware from the previous stuff, but they go, okay, well, what are we going to do? Let her go to her office that we gave her. She'll be boxed in. We can take her out there, but of course, that's easier said than done, so she ends up fighting her way out and goes to break Mason out, getting him out of his cell. And it's all coming up roses. They're about to escape when Mason's neighboring cellmate kind of pipes in and goes, hello. And it turns out it's the Joker, who is like, hey, cool, you're here, Harley. You can bust me out now. Get me out of here. You're my love slave, pretty much. So, snap to it, lady. And Harley's like, hey, I'm not into you really anymore. We're done. Remember that whole thing where you tried to murder me and stuff? Yeah, I'm done with that. I'm going on my own way now. And, Joker throws pretty much every method of abuse to try to keep her around. Psychological, emotional, physical. I mean, he's doing everything that a abusive relationship has in it. And he is just really drilling into her, trying to get her to break. I mean, really drilling into her on this. And, Harley is just like, that's not who I am anymore. I've walked away. Yeah, I still have that weird, I don't know what it is in my heart or head that's messed up, but I recognize it's broken and we're broken and you are way past broken. This is not going to happen once more. And it ends with her smoting him, for lack of a better term, leaving him on the ground bleeding in a pool of his own blood, and has a gun to his head and refuses to kill him because, just like Batman, she realizes that's exactly what he wants her to do as well. So she ends up just walking away with Mason. But it's a really serious, 10 pages of hardcore abusive relationship type stuff that's really in there.
Hey, maybe you shouldn't be looking at Joker and Harley as a perfect couple.
Yeah,
some people, maybe
you should actually look at this relationship and go, that's not good. That's not healthy at all.
One of the many reasons why some people thought, how could you do Harley Quinn as a solo character?
This is one of those fireworks factory moments for me, because Harley Quinn, I'm not gonna lie, it's not written for me. I understand where it's coming from. I know what they're going for. I can see the marketability of it. I can see why people absolutely love it. It's not really my bag, which is fine. That's absolutely okay. But there has been this side storyline of her obviously going off on her own. It's been in the Suicide Squad stuff. It was in Harley's own book. It was, she was popping up in other people's books because she had gone solo after the last straw with the Joker. And they weren't really coming back to that whatsoever. Obviously the Joker died in Batman, so it's going to be difficult. But Harley Quinn has her own continuity. She can do whatever she wants. And I've been waiting for this final, is she going to end up going back to him? Are they going to reset that continuity? Because there is obviously a fan base for it. Whether they're right or wrong is up to, whoever, but there is a fan base for the Joker Harley Quinn abusive relationship. And I was afraid they were going to come back to that at some point. And this one was kind of a nail in that coffin where they're like, no, I am not that person anymore. I am not going back to that. That is a horrible place for someone to be. Even a fictional character, to force them to stay in this relationship, you would be a bad person to do that. So no, we're not going back to that route. And I was like, okay, you know what? I like it. It could have easily gone south. It could have easily been a ham-handed, really crappy scene.
I love those Jared Leto starvation abs. Let's get back on this train.
Yeah. So, I mean, it could have easily turned south, but it didn't. So I'm happy with the way it played out. But they end up escaping outside to Poison Ivy, who has the getaway vehicle, because she stole the bat boat because, to be, inconspicuous and all. And they end up making it back to the docks where Batman is standing there, as well as all of Harley's, Coney Island friends who had called ahead to Batman, because, he has a number. You call it. It rings. It's the mayor's line. You call it.
It's a rotary phone,
what's her name answers? Madison answers. It goes, you're looking for Batman no, Batman isn't here. Well, he's here, but he's not Batman anymore. He's clearly very good at this secret identity thing. I'll take a message. But Batman shows up as well and is basically scolding Poison Ivy for stealing his boat, but he was filled in on what was going on in the corruption from the mayor, and that Harley in vague terms, was trying to do the right thing and help this guy out, and offers to put Mason in protective custody so that he can testify against the mayor. And as long as Harley leaves town, gets out of Gotham, he won't haul her in or anything. She's trying to turn over a new leaf. He knows redemption. He's not like those Supermans and Wonder Womans over in Sinestro that doesn't understand that people could turn over a new leaf. So he's gonna allow it to happen. But it's this nice little scene. There's a tearful farewell where Harley gets to say goodbye because obviously Mason has to go into undercover. They have to hide him away somewhere, so they're not going to see one another, and he's going to serve his jail term for manslaughter. And they get on a bus to head back to Coney Island, where Harley is just emotionally exhausted. I mean, this is a bad day for her overall. I mean, it's a win in the large view of this, where she finally walked away from Joker, but zoomed in on today, this is a bad day for Harley. But as they're coming back, she's like, I think it's time to just try something new. And what better way to separate myself from the Joker than find a new look? So when we get home, we're going to find a new look that maybe isn't Joker inspired. Maybe we're going to find something a little off on our own, form our own identity, and go from there.
Have you heard of Margot Robbie?
Have you heard of Margot? She might be something you might want to look into. Deathstroke, not Will Smith. Deathstroke could probably tell you something about that as well. I'm looking forward to that one as well.
Deadshot.
I did it again.
You did it again.
Beth has totally screwed me up. Where now I'm double guessing myself. So, okay. I'm back on track. Deadshot could totally fill you in on that because Will Smith is not moving in on his job whatsoever. Mm-hmm. You might want to look into a slight costume change. Recommend t-shirts, boots. Just throwing it out there as an option. But good. As I said, this book isn't aimed at me, but I was very happy with the way it turned out. So, next up.
All right, moving on to her gal pal, Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy, Cycle of Life and Death, number 2. Believe it or not, Dr. Pamela Isley prefers plants over people.
Really?
Yeah.
When did this happen?
I guess that's just always been her thing.
Uh-huh. I feel like I didn't know that.
Yeah. And she's been working undercover in her civilian guise at the Gotham Botanical Gardens to gain access to new plant gene splicing research and occasionally leading school children on really disappointing field trips.
So, let's talk about HR departments, Gotham City.
Yes. No, her boss knew it was her, but because she was so smart, she let her come in.
Okay, fair enough.
They flat out said her boss knew that she was hiring Poison Ivy.
Well, that's playing with some fire right there.
And then her boss died.
Mysteriously from plant poisons?
Well, yes, exactly. And so Poison Ivy was like, that's not good for me. That's not good for me. I didn't do it, but that's not good for me.
I am not the master of the board game Clue, but if I were, I would probably suspect me.
And also during all this, she's splicing human and plant DNA together so she'd have more people like her around.
Yeah, that might look a little suspicious.
So she delivers some plant babies out of a giant rosebud, and the other person at her work that knows she's Poison Ivy gets killed mysteriously. But also plant babies. She's making her own babies, making them out of plants, playing God.
That'll turn
Poison
out fine.
Ivy.
It's going to turn out fine, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Is Swamp Thing going to get involved in this?
I hope so.
Yeah, just pop up and be like...
Because she brought him back to life according to Justice League United.
They can go on Maury Povich, and he can tell Swamp Thing...
Those are my plant babies.
Not the father. And he'll be like, oh!
Not the father of those plant babies, although technically I guess I am.
I'm being kind of like... plant life incarnate, I guess. Am I like a godfather or something? Where do I fit into this? Do I have to pay child support is what I'm asking.
Yeah. But Clay Mann draws really nice.
Yeah, he does.
Really pretty pictures.
He was on the recent lockdown too.
Yeah.
So we get to see some more of his
Interested
art.
to see what he goes to go and do.
Is this like him getting his DC chops? Because I know he's been raffle stomping artwork over at Valiant for a little bit
Okay.
now. Yeah, that's where he's coming from, is Valiant. He was headlining a bunch of their art over there.
See.
And this seems to be his first
get
DC
your
one.
feet wet, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, just kind of get used to it. Doing a really good job
Yeah.
of it. Those are some really clean pencils, I can tell you that much.
Some gorgeous layouts of just like weird Poison Ivy plant stuff. Yeah. Really cool.
Quite like it. So
Like, hey, if you've got a hey, figure out how plant babies work. He's like, okay, I guess I can do it. And he did it.
Let me do a little bit of research on this. I know I'm going to some seedy underbellies of the internet right now. And go. Dendrophiliacs, not what I wanted.
DeviantArt, why you gotta do this to me?
Sonic the Hedgehog.
You beat me to it. Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't know. This one says you really love Jesus, but this one says I don't know what this one says. Good Lord, Sonic, make up your mind already.
I'm just going to draw a flower with a baby coming out of it. I'm not going to figure out the mechanics.
Nope.
That really has to be kind of a dangerous side of the artistic world of comics. I know we were talking earlier about, go crazy, go big, go just out there. But when you actually want to base it in some fact, you go to some dangerous places in the world.
Yeah.
Things you cannot unsee. That kind of makes me worried that I know about many of these seedy underbellies and I'm not doing it for research. So Dr. Fate number 9. Let's just get out of that.
Yeah. Let's
move on. Go elsewhere. Healing the world is not as simple a task as it sounds, and it already doesn't sound simple. So,
no.
Poor Khalid has been given the helm of Naboo, and no one's telling him how to use it. Let's be absolutely frank. Half of this issue is him going, merger, stupid Naboo, just tell me how this stupid magic stuff works. And Naboo just kind of like going, nope, you'll figure it out on your own. Nope, not telling you anything. But in this case, protests about the Egyptian government being all totalitarian again have mounted outside the United Nations building in New York City, and some mystical force seems to be escalating tensions between the protesters and the cops that are there trying to keep them out of the actual United Nations building. And we see like the cops, their eyes are glowing red, and they're just like, grrr, cops mad, cops smash. And, poor Khalid is stuck going, okay, well, how do I fix this? After being taken out by a riot water cannon, mystical powers and all that, this water cannon is too much. I cannot stop it. It's actually really funny because all the animals in New York seem to be part of pantheons, like different pantheons. And as he gets knocked into the Hudson Bay, there's like 2 seagulls sitting on a rock like, man, that was a big bird. Yeah, I don't think it was a bird, man. Huh. New York, crazy town. They're just gonna fly off. And I'm like, why are we focusing on this? Because that's so much more interesting to me. But he ends up flying back and causes an earthquake in the middle of New York City to split the city street in half, keeping the cops on one side and the protesters on the other. Trillions of dollars of damage to stop these two groups of people from fighting one another. I'm sure that will have no negative repercussions on him whatsoever. So he knows his friend Aquila is there at the protest as well, the one that has been trying to get him to join the protest as well. But he's like, yeah, I'm in med school, kind of a superhero now as well. Don't really have time to protest. But he knows she's there and he wants to find her and make sure she's safe. So he tracks her down using the magic of Naboo and finds she is actually at jail. She got arrested with a bunch of other protesters. And as she's being led out of the paddy wagon, he's standing up there and he's like, oh, I can break her out and help her get away from this. It looks like they haven't processed her yet, so no one would know. But that would probably look bad if the new superhero showed up and started busting prisoners out and flying them to safety. But luckily, this is New York City, and someone has hung their bed sheet out to dry, so I will just wrap myself in it and go, woo, and fly up and fly away with them. All the power of the universe. All of it at his fingertips. And he wraps himself in a bedsheet and just kind of goes, boo, and then flies off with Aquila, dropping her off at home.
Nay, boo.
Yeah. But he drops her off.
Ghost horse? What is it?
I don't know what's happening. He drops Aquila off at home, but she says all of their other friends that were also protesting were taken by the Egyptian consulate. And he's like, well, that's weird. It's one thing to be arrested by the cops. It's another thing for the Egyptian consulate to haul him off. So he flies over to the Egyptian consulate building. And the entire thing is him trying to search the building going, Naboo, is there a spell to help me just see everything in the building? Yep. Can you tell me what it is? Nope. Is there a spell that would let me see through walls? Yep. Can you tell me what it is? Nope. And him just getting really, really mad at Naboo for not working with him whatsoever until he finally flies down to the basement because where else would you keep prisoners? And as he shows up, he sees that all of them are in a jail cell being protected by spectral mummy Ra pharaohs. And he's like, oh, warning signal, something's not right here. Spectral mummy Ra pharaohs. That definitely sends up a red flag at the very least. We do also see that his mom is got a letter from his uncle Kent, who's coming to visit soon, who may have found the helmet to begin with. So we may get some ties back to old continuity with this as well, as far as why maybe his Uncle Kent had more of a link with this Helm of Naboo than what we initially thought, and now he is coming back to maybe help his nephew train him in the ways of how to do it, which would be a great...
Yeah.
I think that would be a great setup for the character. I don't know if this one survives Rebirth. I can't remember. I don't think, but it would still be a nice setup for the character to have that mentor there. You get your old continuity callback stuff.
A legacy, if you will.
Yeah, a legacy, if you will, which seems to be a very important part of Rebirth moving forward.
Word they keep using.
They love that legacy. It seems to be the defining characteristic of DC, which I can see that. I definitely see where the old guard is saying, hey, we spent many, many decades getting to this legacy point, and it was all washed away, and we'd like to have it back. And I could,
as long as they remember that legacy can also mean adding on to things and not just going back to stuff from the past.
Bing! Right on the nose. I think you got it. So hopefully that is a lesson learned. I have a feeling we'll get going back to things to start with. A, as a lore for people to come back, and B, as a setting the stage and building the ground level so that everyone knows who everyone is and what their ties are. And then from there, hopefully we'll move forward. But
hopefully.
Yeah. We'll see.
All right.
We'll see. So, moving on. Last one.
All right. Secret 6, number 11. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention last time was when we found out that Black Alice was like a demon lady. Mm-hmm. There were some kids that were taunting her and calling her emo, so she turned them into goats with flies for heads.
Oh, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, and now they apparently have adopted one because as Catman is walking his dog, his like pit bull that he adopted, he's also walking one of the goat fly head things.
Okay.
Yeah. So
aren't they still in some quiet neighborhood?
They are in a quiet neighborhood that is becoming less and less quiet. There's in some boring suburban area that is going just nuts. So Batgirl shows up. Hey, Catman. We're gonna fight each other right now.
Just
because. So punch, fight. I do like the fact that like they get into like a cartoon Cloud of Dusk scuffle at one point, and the sound effects are punch, bite, handsome, and selfie.
Oh, nice.
Because those are the only two things that anyone cares about Catman and Batgirl. She took a selfie on the cover of a comic book one, so that's the only thing that anyone knows her for. That's the only thing that she does.
Oh, come on. That was a quick humor element, and you know it.
No, it's making fun of the people who think that that's all that she's about.
I know.
And but really, Batgirl wanted to find Strix so she could warn Strix about something because they're old pals from back in the time. And she also wanted to make sure the people that Strix is hanging out with are good.
Well, about that.
About that part. Elsewhere in the story, Porcelain tries to give Strix a makeover and get rid of her scars, but Ferdy, the ventriloquist dummy, convinces her to be herself.
Aww.
We also got a flashback to Strix's origin story, which has that ever been covered before?
Yes.
Yeah.
As far as being the daughter and like the, what was yours?
The one we got, she was like an old, like back around World War II, some bombs that were sent on balloons that got from the Japanese that got covered up by the government. When she was a little girl, she tried to grab a pretty balloon and it had explosives in it and it killed her parents and scarred her up something fierce and she got turned into a Talon.
Yep, that's the past.
All right, so that is a thing
very
I didn't need to cover, but yeah.
Very happy origin.
Yes, and that explains why she's kind of stuck in a childlike mindset. Big Shot gets a call from Sue Dibney that she remembers again and wants to go on a date. That's not a setup.
No.
Everything's coming up roses for Big Shot. Nothing bad's going to happen there.
Ralph and Sue always get the happy ending, so...
I know. Then Lady Shiva attacks them all, and she's looking for Strix.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
She hasn't been around very much.
It's not.
Not since the Grayson origins, like the number zeros.
Okay.
That time frame. She popped up and was teaching Batman and Grayson. Well, actually, she was being evil, and then Grayson actually kept up with her as she was jumping around through the city, and she was just going, hey, he's pretty good. You should keep him around. Maybe escalate him up to an A-list character. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. He's pretty good.
No Mecha Shiva, but...
No Mecha Shiva. No.
But Lady Shiva's all right.
Yeah, we can deal with that. We can at least find something. Wasn't that the whole Cassandra Cain? Isn't there a link between her and Shiva? Maybe. Well, I'm talking old continuity, not current.
Yeah.
But
when we start talking about Cheshire and Shiva and all those characters, I get a little confused.
Young Justice maybe like Cheshire.
Yeah.
So I kind of hope she shows up more. And then she was kind of goofy in Red Hood and the Outlaws when she was in that for a bit.
Oh, yeah, she was.
With the 60 times Cheshire always trying to hook up with Roy.
Yeah.
And Roy is just having nothing to do with it. You're evil. I can't sleep with you. She's like, oh no, I'll be good. I'll be real good for one night. He's like, stop being all flirty. I'm trying to concentrate on toppling your evilness. I mean, that was pretty fun. So I'd like to see Cheshire around some more.
Young Justice had the best Cheshire design too. So
yeah, that one was pretty good.
Bring that back.
I'm actually going back through and rewatching that because
so was my son actually.
Yeah, well, there's the myths and rumors that Netflix is watching the metrics on it to see if it's worth coming back for a third season themselves. Yes, obviously
we've got the show that people like, and everyone's getting really angry that there's no ending to it.
Yeah, myths and rumors. Actually, my favorite write-up on it was that one of the executives at Netflix watched it was like, man, that's really good. When are we getting season 3? There is no season 3. What? So I'm doing my part, and it's been a couple of years since I watched it, so I'm sitting down and just kind of...
everybody with Netflix.
I'm just kind of watching it as I fall asleep each night and picking my way through once more. But a lot better than I remember it, too. I know it was good. I remembered it being good, but...
And after the Teen Titans Go episode, this sort of made you...
Yep. But that's it. That's all of our books. It was a nice short week this week. I liked it. It felt intimate. I got to rub myself with the books and just kind of wallow in them and absorb them into me and You didn't do this? I read them.
No, it's hard with my computer screen to do that, but...
Damn it, broke another laptop.
All the nudity and foul language of the original source material.
I did go see Deadpool.
Oh, you did?
I did. I enjoyed it. I chuckled quite a bit. Okay. So, not as bad as you would think, honestly.
I'm vaguely interested, but not so much that I want to spend money to go see it.
Yeah, it's a matinee. I'm not gonna lie. It was a good matinee movie. So take that as you will.
It'll show up on Netflix eventually.
Colossus, strangely, the breakaway character for me.
I wouldn't be surprised based on how they treated him in the trailers. I'm like, Colossus is probably gonna be pretty awesome in this.
He's Dad Bane. That's what they made of it. I was like, I can follow with that. That's pretty fun. But yeah, do you got anything before we take off for this week?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, let's remind the folks. Buy these books. I know we're coming up to the end of the DCU timeline. It makes me so sad. It really, really does. And I don't want to jump up on a soapbox. When DCU started, I even said this is like a huge risk that DC is taking, like a monumental risk. And that if people don't support the things that really appeal to them, it's really going to blow up in their face. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
They made artisan titles for specific tastes
small
and specific
batch artists comic books.
That's what they did. Mm-hmm. It was aimed at specific subsets. It was really aimed at and people that like books really like their books. Look at your Omega Men's, your Graysons. You got your Batgirl fans, your Gotham Academies, your Gotham by Midnight. I mean, there was a lot of small batch artisan titles that were out that people that like them really, really like them, but there's just not enough market, I guess, for it to...
Gotham by Midnight still baffles me.
Yeah, I know, but que sera, sera, man. Yeah. It's how the world works, but it makes me sad that that's how it played out, so...
We're getting the second prez in October.
We are.
Gotham Academy's continuing on.
Yep, second semester.
Yep.
That's the title of it.
A long semester.
That's a really long semester. But it's when we get the Rebirth launch, support what you like is all I'm saying, because that's all that matters. That's all that keeps a book alive at the end is who's buying it. It's not who's reading it, it's who's buying it. And I know that sounds contrary, but there are many people who read comics who do not buy comics. I'm just putting that out there. Just support what you like. That's all I can ask you to do. Don't throw money away, good after bad, but if you do enjoy it, it's your dollar that votes for it. We'll leave it there. Next week, more books.
Yeah.
Back up to date, back on top of things. So we should have a quick episode unless I want to pay more money for more hosting, because we have a limited amount of space left. It was a 5-episode month, and which is weird since it's February, the shortest month of the year. It just happened to fall on all the Mondays, or maybe I'll delay a day and release it. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Yeah. So that being said, where can the people talk to us, Brian?
The internet.
Yep. If you Facebook, Twitters, Tumblrs, I don't know, DCR podcast. You just type it into your search engine of choice and things will pop up and we go, hi.
Peach? Can people talk to us on Peach?
I don't think so. I'm not on Peach. Maybe I'll go on Yik Yak, but that'll be weird because the whole anonymity of it might not. Type in DCR podcast. That's not what we're called, but
what
we're
failed
there.
social media things can we talk about now?
Instagram will take pictures of us reading books, of me wallowing in comics. Yeah.
We could Periscope us recording and everyone could be super disappointed.
He's just sitting there reading a book. This is boring.
Francis Stereo's phone. What's happening?
But that being said, everyone, enjoy your books, enjoy your week, enjoy your lives, and we're going to talk to you next week.